are not wasting any time as we get back into Champions Select for Game 3 here. And EDG 2-0. Let's look towards their bans. It will be Jace and Rengar coming through, while on the opposite side, Ashe and Gragas. So one aimed at the top lane, also a Fireloli ban, and Zet as well.
Yeah, Newbee will definitely ban Graves going forward, or maybe they will keep up the ban, because at this point in time, they've put themselves, or at least this entire set, has just been jungle priority and jungle bans. They'll leave it open. You got to expect EDG to pick it up. But with that being said, they still, at the very least, put Swift on a comfortable jungler. Maybe not a comfortable matchup, but it's going to be something that he will be a lot more happier with. Not so much a Rumble.
And we are really looking at this key. EDG have the key to success.
Ooh.
But they also pick up Graves, so we'll see if that is equally as good for them. We also had Caitlyn and Varus banned out away from EDG and Newbee, so a bit of a hit towards the AD carries. Yeah,
Newbee does have a larger pool. We haven't seen the... Oh, you know who I'm going to talk about.
Who's that, Raz?
Lucian everybody.
Okay.
We haven't seen a Lucian from him yet this series, and he is a strong Lucian player.
He is, he is.
The only reason why he wouldn't want to pick it now is because he wants to be able to get shove priority, which would mean not so much the Ashe because that's been banned out, but it would mean an Ezreal and a Karma. It wouldn't give you shove, but it would give you the poke in lane. And we've seen that in EDG's hand. I believe it was game 1. And they were able to take you apart. So, yeah, they're actually just going to hover over it.
They're looking for it. They have locked in the combo, that being from the side of Newbee, so we have that flex already. I could see that on Coco, but I prefer him to be on a bigger playmaker. Of course, his Jace has again been taken away. Not going to get his hands on that one after that IG set, but...
yeah, I'm never going to have it.
Nope.
No.
Ezreal coming in as well for Newbee. So bot lane, mostly locked in.
Yeah, so the Newbee
Ooh.
definitely had bot lane priority, but yeah,
okay.
I know where you're at. I know where you're looking. I know where your eyes are at. It's the Kog'Maw.
It is, of course. And now I feel like with Lulu being open, this could be another pickup from EDG, because certainly Newbee will take it away in next rotation, and there it is.
Exactly. But remember the last time round, we did see a very similar composition on different ends, where Ezreal Karma was able to take control earlier on, just through poke in the lane. Problem was LWX had a bit of a trade, but then of course killed himself. But that was just nerfs, everybody. I'm just gonna sell it in that way.
Yeah.
That's how I want to sell it.
Wait, Fireloli?
No, LWX.
Oh, LWX. Yeah.
He had the Kog'Maw. So this time around, it's gonna be completely swapped lanes. Unless, of course, if the Karma goes mid. Then that would just be incredible, because I have not seen that on Coco.
Now, we've seen, we're also seeing the Lee Sin be picked up here for Swift, while the Syndra banner will come out against Scout as well. His Orianna is still up if they wanted that towards helping out the Kog'Maw, but this is the LPL, so their version of protecting their ADC is bringing in an assassin towards the mid lane so they can kill whoever's coming towards him. That is typically how the LPL set up their Kog'Maw comps, but here's the Rumble being banned out as well from V and Swift, I guess.
And honestly, that's probably the reason he picked up Lee Sin instead of Elise, is that get that Kog'Maw. Be able to kick him in. Because Lee Sin might still have a tough time up against the Graves, but as the game goes on, level 6 Lee Sin, he's going to hop right in to the backline, be able to kick you that Kog'Maw in. So that's going to be the biggest focus coming out of Newbee. Gragas is something I mean, it's already been banned, so that's not even an option. Where was I going with that? But Newbee still want to be able to pick themselves a top laner that can get to that top backline, and that could very well easily be like a Nautilus.
Will be Shen being banned out as well against Mouse, so Newbee are trying to block all of these protection spells, all the protection champions from EDG as they are setting up for this Kog'Maw. And LeBlanc banned out against Coco as well, so another one of his staples taken off the board. Newbee are looking for their next pick now.
And don't hover that champion. If you're going to hover it, at least have Sky in the top lane. That's not going to be the case. But Fizz is a champion we've actually had eyes on for quite some time. Had rarely been seen in this set.
Yeah. And okay, who broke his win rate? Because it used to be over 90%. But still, over 18 games, 77% is still pretty good. Fizz is exceptionally strong at this point in time. That being said, many picks in the top lane are still available, like a Fiora, like a Kennen.
And that's a bit of a worry, because Newbee are still falling into that trouble where, sure, Fizz is going to be great if you can get yourself that 2v1. You can get a gank going for you once you have items on the Fizz. But he's blind picking that. And so EDG will just be fine doing what they did last game, where they just have shove priority, have trade priority, and just chip you down, and that's where the Kennen comes in.
Yes, it is. And EDG are deliberating on their final pick, which will be their mid laner for Scout. Yeah, thought about the Victor and the taliyah, both of which could work in this scenario. And in the end, it will be taliyah for Scout, so he has a bit of kill pressure as well on that mid lane, and we get to see the counter pick now from Coco.
Wonder what it's going to be. We have seen some Victors into the taliyah pick. Taliyah is great as a blind pickable champion. Scout on that pick has been immaculate, and I guess it's going to be someone who will be traveling across the map to follow her.
Yeah, Twisted Fate coming in, and very similar champions pushing out that wave, looking for the roam. Both do it in slightly different ways, but this will really just come down to this early game, and both teams are laughing, both teams are smiling. Newbee up against it, 1 game away from elimination out of playoffs, but have they put up a hell of a run so far. EDG, however, just another day in the office.
Yeah, this is going to be something you worry about because Scout's taliyah has been beautiful so far this split. Every time he showcased it, even if he falls behind, as the mid to late game comes through, just throw down the wall, and it's the best utility you can get. If you work well with your team, you can blow down flashes and, of course, come around and start up the next fight. So I want to see how it is. It got banned out last time, too.
It's true.
So finally, Scout's going to have his hands on the champion.
Let's talk a little bit about the EDG composition here, Raz, because it bears some similarities to the Game 2 composition. They have the hyper carry in the ADC role. We'll be looking to scale up, and top lane once more with the Kennen. But there are some other components thrown in.
That's true. To say the least, it has less protection with a little bit more pressure in the solo lane. So we're going to have to expect Kennen and taliyah to be putting out pressure, both mid and top. That's going to be where predominantly you'd like to see Swift coming topside. And how the team fights do play out, you'd want them to, even though they have Kog'Maw, to be able to set number advantage in those fights. That's where Twisted Fate's fairly key, because he's going to be able to follow up incredibly well. I think he even picked up TP for himself. So Twisted Fate's going to be just damage control. And perhaps he can even get himself a nice top lane gank. So I want to see a top side pressure coming out of Newbee. Get that Fizz ahead. Meanwhile, EDG will likely be looking to dogpile on that bottom side of the map.
I mean, there's a very real chance that we see a snowball coming in from Newbee as we set up for Game 3 here. And it's match point for EDG as they have 2 wins over their opponents in this best of 5. Let's see if Newbee can pull it back and bring it to that Game 5. First Dragon's going to be Infernal as we head on to the Rift. And that crowd has some energy, Raz. They have been here for 11 hours, but they are still yelling because they are very passionate about their players and about their teams.
I feel like they're going to be missing their transit. That's just going to be the case. You can't be sitting in that venue for that long and expect to have a nice ride home. So
everyone's taking the taxi.
Yeah, everyone. Just hopefully they work with each other.
That's true.
Get their Uber rides.
Capture. Swift. Takes a bit of damage. Of course, he's going to recall anyway, so it's not the biggest of deals in the world. But on the top side, EDG are just setting up. A couple wards coming down. Let's see if that actually culminates into anything, because we may see this 3-man invade from EDG onto Raptors.
And definitely Newbee's going to know about this. If Graves not starting bot side himself, not going to be starting red buff with the usual take, or Raptors, they know that theirs going to be taken, especially since, of course, they're on top of them. So that's going to make it a little easier for Lee Sin playing a sneaker ride. But there's definitely a ward here too, so here we go.
Coming in from 2 angles, Mouse and Fireloli. Mouse is being opened up on from Swift and V, but Swift has to get out immediately. He cannot take this much damage, flashes over the wall. Fireloli almost with the kill with the point-blank shotgun shells.
I don't know what they expected. I feel like that was definitely very easily telegraphed.
I mean, both teams saw exactly what the other team was doing, so yeah.
I believe Newbee were just taking the gamble because they didn't believe that red buff was warded 100%. So they thought they can just sneak out the red buff and walk around. The safer play was just to start bottom side and to look to steal red. That's it. Either steal red or look to trade Raptors. That's not the case, but it looks like Swift
He's getting his ass beat by these wolves.
He definitely is just rumbling here. All right.
I wanted to see the end of that trade.
Definitely same. It's a definitely more interactive trade than what's happening here.
Meanwhile, in the top lane, V is getting his early advantage against Mouse. He did have the lane push, so he got the level 2 over Mouse, which is why he got the punish there.
Oh no, don't do this now.
We need some help from more. We need requesting fire support.
They're actually just 2v1ing this Grump. I've never seen this.
Yeah.
The greatest tag team alive. Yeah, this guy is so far behind. finally hits level 2.
Well, he's got Smite for this blue buff, but it's going to be close. I mean, Fireloli is having the time of his life. He's level 3, he's going on to his Wolves, he's going to go into his bot side, he's going to take his next red as well, he's going to get this triple buff rolling. Meanwhile, Swift may actually die to this Sentinel.
He very well could. You know what? The Observer is just holding back. He's holding himself back. He needs to look towards his bottom side. He needs to look to another lane other than looking at this man's paint. Swift looked into this game thinking it would be different than game 1, where Fireloli had full control, but he definitely didn't expect him to outplay himself with that level 1. Fireloli knows very well of this, so he might as well just be taking constant shots and looking into this jungle. But here comes Coco.
On his way to the mid lane. Gets the flick. Coco going to have to burn a flash here, surely, as Fireloli comes in. And Scout will get those final couple pebbles thrown at Coco, and that will be the flash burn.
Yeah, he didn't want to get the Thunderlord's proc being taken down by Scout. Scout would have been able to kill him. So it's smart for him, but that's flash burned onto Twisted Fate. So that's definitely going to be a little bit more painful if Fireloli takes another second guess coming around.
EDG's early game, just so strong. And at the start of the game as well, around the red buff, did not help the cause of Swift, especially when he's on Lee Sin. The fact he's trying to play catch-up and then has to try and look for these ganks. He's once again put in a very similar position towards game 1, Raz, when he was trying to look for these ganks, and he was like, well, I have to get these ganks or we lose the game. And you never really want to be put in that situation if you are Swift.
And thankfully, this time around, he actually has lanes that are dealing very well with the opposition. So LWX and more, now that they have Ezreal Karma into the Lulu Kog'Maw, doing very well. And that is a nice breath of fresh air. He's going to help him out a little bit. That's level 3 game. Yeah. I don't know about this one. I actually think this is the worst idea you can go for.
I didn't think he's going to go for these strokes, but he does have Coco coming down now as well.
All right, that could help.
Yeah, by the time EDG have figured it out, Newbee are already trying to execute on this dive. They need to clear out this minion wave pretty much. LWX and more are low, and everyone's going to run away. The minion wave was dissipating, and they didn't want to try their luck against this bottom lane.
And honestly, LWX had taken so much damage there, so he wouldn't have been able to just all in with the team. They needed him as the primary form of damage in that entire affair. And so Zet and Meiko played that out incredibly well. In fact, they're just firing back.
Absolutely are, and we'll even up some of these minions. Regardless, LWX has a sizable CS lead over Kog'Maw, so it's not like he's in the worst situation in the world. And it's also to note that Zet has gone for the longsword start. Now, we do often see longsword on other AD carries, but for Kog'Maw, for the most part, you see even a dagger or boots, for example, Doran's blade, something along those lines. But it looks like he's going for Blade of the Ring King.
Yep, Blade of the Ring King's not that far-fetched. It's completely fine for him. It's just usually that it feels like a bit of a greedy start. It's efficient, but with that being said, Fireloli, who he is now.
Well, let's call him out in the jungle, but Fireloli's almost killed him by himself, so there's that.
I thought he was getting surrounded too. The Scout would have been able to help him out as he was shoving out mid.
Yep.
Hit on the earlier point. Yeah, you usually see boots pots, but he wanted to be able to contest the shove in that lane. So is that now he's going to be able to get Blade of the Rune King. I wonder what he's going to get next. Though, looking at this team, not much can. He feels like threatened him immediately. Like, yeah, sure, maybe Coco and B.
Yeah, Wits is a possibility because there's 2 AP threats. You might just go for the Runans anyway. We've seen that from many ADCs actually today. Yeah. Where it's just like, oh, this is a risky competition to play into. Double Assassins, Runans.
Yeah, I'd say
okay.
Runans on that one then.
Yeah, just because we know these players. Otherwise, I would say, any sane man's head that you'd go towards something like a Wits End or even an early Hex Drinker, something like that.
Agreed.
But regardless, these teams make it work. I have faith in Scout as well that he's able to put enough pressure down in these fights. Newbee will make it, will find it very hard to get on top of the Kog'Maw. Meanwhile, Fireloli is trying to exacerbate his early game lead, but as it is, he's level 5 to level 5, so Swift has definitely caught up.
He's caught up, but with how much these lanes are constantly never going to be able to convert, Fireloli is just never going to relent. He's going to be constantly pushing. One thing that he does have to worry about, though, is that Coco does have his ulti up.
Zet taking a lot of damage, and here comes Twisted Fate as well. Once again, the stun card down onto Zet, and hits it. Auto attacks come in, courtesy of LWX, and that'll be first burst right over to Newbee.
And beautifully played. Taliyah was looking to rotate to help out Fireloli in his invade, so he found that as an advantage to go down bot side. That was a great adaptation. I actually would have expected Coco to ulti on top of Fireloli to really make that worth their while, but he knew that scout was there.
Meiko.
But Meiko.
Very low himself. Moore's coming in. Mystic shot doesn't land, but Moore may even pick up the kill by himself. Gonna take a tower shot. LWX following through, and this should be a sure kill over to Newbee right here. And just the sidestep, but in the end, there's too many things to try and dodge. V in the top side. Mouse gonna take this full fish to the face, has to flash away. One more, not gonna land. And he is home and dry. That was a little close for comfort, but makes it happen.
But they finally get the trade. Plays were happening bot side, and EDG, Zet and Meiko were definitely just getting dive, having a bad time, so they had to make this play happen. They will definitely get this first brick gold for themselves. He doesn't even have a wave.
Nope, already down. It goes to Mouse and Fireloli, going to be split on this one. Zet has made his way back into this bottom lane, but nope, Newbee are on the way out. So, first blood tower to EDG.
Not even answered too.
In pretty good shape.
Yeah. This is really a nice look for EDG. That they're pressuring topside a lot more. That Mouse is definitely looking like he can be that carry for his team as well. And so now that he has this sizable gold advantage just based off that tower gold, the CS, and the dive that he was able to get a kill on, since the kill was gifted to him, suddenly you just look at Mouse and say, yo, you carry us. You would usually see Zed and Meiko to be that primary focus, but it looks like they're going to be having a little bit of time just scaling up.
Yeah, hey, we saw it in game 2 as well, where it was Zet and Mouse pretty much. The composition was built around them. And honestly, in both of these series, Raz, Mouse has been the bane of the game.
Mouse has had, and it's good to talk about because Mouse throughout the entire split actually has been showcasing some great plays. And this one, just the last game on his Kennen pick, went to Teamfights and was able to create so much space for his backline when they were just constantly getting threatened. You just saw Zet getting picked off time and time again. But it was mostly Mouse that was being able to create a lot of space, deal a lot of damage, get a lot of pressure topside. It's a nice look for Mouse, especially since it's more of a redemption split from him.
It's just interesting seeing these mid lane trades as well. Every time Coco steps up with a gold card, throws it onto Scout, but can't follow up because he needs to spend the rest of his time waiting to see where the flicker's coming from and not getting hit by it. Otherwise, he's definitely losing out on that trade. Swift and Coco tag teaming, but many on the way pings from EDG signaling they are on the way. Did you know? Over this area. Yeah,
they can never take control here. Even though they try, EDG is always on that case. Now we're looking towards this mid lane turret.
Turning away, using the seismic shove. Coco stepping up. Wildcards come in. Flash onto Fireloli. V as well. Throws out the lobster. Fireloli will jump away.
That was a nice roam coming out of V to threaten EDG as they were sieging up. But the problem is now you look towards top lane. Mouse is taking that advantage.
Yeah, AD carries are left to their own devices in the bottom lane. LWX still has that pretty big advantage. He's picked up the early Mana Moon over what is Zet's Bilgewater Cutlass, but mid lane's being sieged and Coco taking a lot of damage. Kick lands. Swift, what are you doing? Takes a lot of damage and gets blown up on the spot from Fireloli.
He didn't even get polymorph. He actually could have made that kick happen.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
I think he just fat-fingered because everyone was on top of each other, so it's just like, well, it's literally RNG of who I'm going to kick right now, and then didn't do it in the first place.
I was ready to talk Meiko up, say, oh, he can polymorph. No, nope. No, it was just...
Meiko knew.
He knew he'd mess up.
Apparently. Top lane, he getting traded on. Mouse going to jump away here. And mid tower, on its last legs. This is going to go down to EDG very soon.
And that's what's tough when you're facing EDG is that they are the most obvious team when it knows like, oh, yeah, they're definitely going to pressure this mid lane. But how do you stop them, right? Thankfully, LWX and more are creating pressure top into the bottom side, so EDG have to respond. So that's the only thing really saving this mid lane turret.
And EDG, again, in this game, it's not a massive advantage, but it's about to get a lot bigger. As that mid tower goes down. Let's see if we can get the kill. Swift jumps in, but Fireloli and Mouse are here. Oh, the Q killed the minion, so now he has to turn around onto Scout. That is straight up unfortunate as Scout finds the kill.
Swift is feeling really sad. I mean, you kind of have to feel sad for him. He's trying to make those plays happen. He's trying to open it up for the team, but suddenly 2 members coming up to follow up Scout while he gets that turret. Any other team, yeah, that would be a free kill. because Scout would be overreaching. He'd be getting a turret when he knows he had no pressure. But at that moment in time, his team recognizes what he's trying to do, and they back him up. So sure, Newbee's going to be able to take this bottom lane tower. Whoa.
Has to burn heal. LWX really wants this tower.
Get it.
But EDG are going to defend this with their lives. Scout's saying he wants to go, though. He's got ultimate.
Yeah, he's going to be able to take this kill. I feel like he should just press the go button right now. LWX is far too low, and Moore has no mana.
Going to have to back away. Zed even went back to base. We've got Fireloli on the way. So this tower, miraculously, is going to stay alive. Yeah, it's on 96 hit points. But EDG keep it alive. So for now, they consolidate their lead.
Yeah, sad day for them. That being said, Coco, he's going to look at this and say, okay, sure, my tower is down, but that gives me a little bit more freedom to leave my lane, as he got shoved in constantly. When the team has made some advantages this game, it's been off of his TF ports. So we expect that to happen in the bottom side, mostly because EDG has been, like, that tower, they're already pinging onto it because they know they want to get it. But if they ever send a member down, like where taliyah is currently, they can look to collapse. It's a possibility.
And heads up play from Mouse, seeing that Twisted Fate has left his lane, backs away, but then returns as Twisted Fate goes back to this mid lane. And Fireloli is actually just soloing Dragon. So this will go over to EDG. First one of the game, 14 minutes in. And EDG just getting more advantages once more. Newbee again on the back foot. A constant in this series.
What do you even do against this? Swift is trying to get topside, but Mouse recognizes that his team is essentially taking the entire win to the opposite side of the map. But this play was going to have to happen.
Oh, a tiny lobster lands onto Mouse, and he jumps away and jumps to safety. Swift coming in here. Coco eventually with a kill from the wildcards, well aimed, will be the kill in the end. So Newbee commit a lot of resources, but it does pay off.
Yeah, V must have used Playful Trickster on that because he was taking aggro, but was able to get out of that one scot-free. But here comes Scout.
Scout's going to build a wall. Newbee are going to pay for it. At least more is. LWX makes his way over, but Meiko comes in. Collateral damage. One goes down. Coco into the fray. Is trading up, but he's exhausted. It was hold of Meiko, and Fireloli coming in. Kill over to the Lulu. And a 2-for-0 in the bottom lane. Everything traded back towards EDG.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that's a pretty fat Lulu. They're going to be able to take this tower down, and EDG had all the right to be confident in that play. Scout was going in for that dive, and there was no way they were going to be able to survive out, or at least Newbee's bottom lane was going to be able to survive that one. That was them overreaching, especially since Newbee made that top lane play. Swift is not going to be able to be there to help you out. So overreaching coming out of Newbee, they disrespected. They thought that Coco was going to be enough, but exhaust on top of him immediately. Really well played from Meiko.
Now top lane's still ahead in terms of gold, though. If you look at the side of Mouse, bot lane is catching up now. It's somewhat unfortunate that Meiko managed to pick up both of those kills, but at the same time, if you're Meiko, you're pretty happy because you're already
raking in that gold.
Yeah, he has so much gold. He's the richest support. 2 1-on-1 in this game. But even so, Zed is catching up. He's got his first item, bladed the Ruin King, good to go. Item spikes across the board coming in from both teams, in fact. Triforce is going to feel really good from V on top of that. Try and trade up against Mouse. So when you have 3 members thrown up there, you can kill Mouse. It's still very difficult, but they are making it work. Trying to decipher what these pings mean here, Raz. I think it means EDG are going up top.
That's going to be the trade. Lee Sin's in the bottom side of the map. It looks like it's going to be just a race. Not sure why Lee Sin's there. Makes no sense to me, but EDG's going to take advantage. Just push this one right in.
Here's a true shot barrage. Doesn't clear out the wave, and inner tower down. Trying to beat traders back on towards the bottom tower here from Newbee. Ooh, that was a little close. Swift and V will take down this tower, but push gets stopped, and all in all, that was an equal trade from Newbee, so pretty heads up.
Okay. One positive you can take away from this if you're Newbee is that V wants to start to split push anyways. You don't see a lot of Fizzes going straight into the Trinity. Usually they go straight into a first item, defensive, then into Trinity. But his focus is just going to be looking to split push. He thinks that he's confident. Ooh, he's actually going to be setting something up. But if he goes for an all-in onto Mouse.
Oh, and Mouse, he's going that way as well.
Oh, does he want to?
He chooses the wrong door. And V and Swift are there to meet him. The knockup right on that fish, but here comes Zed, gets the healing down. Is it enough? He's bleeding out, but V dropping low. Here comes Scout, finds one, moving on to Swift, jumps over the wall, but he's locked in place. Whereas the rest of the team, he has the support coming in from Karma. And on the opposite side of the map, the Herald goes down to Fireloli.
It's a really late Herald too, 17 minutes in, so that's going to be active for quite some time. And that's just the trade. They tried very hard to really get Mouse down. They're trying their hardest to put V in a position to carry this game, get him a split pusher to do that dirt. Unfortunately, yeah, EDG is being able to react fairly well to this, so they get the kills for themselves. Thankfully, Swift remains alive in that one. But now even Fireloli is going to be blasting some people. He has that Rift Herald, level 11. So that's going to be on him for, I'd say level 16, 17, depending how long this game goes.
Yeah, and from that 18 minutes in, just another kill over to Newbee. I'll tell you what, Mouse, you're a good League of Legends player, but I'd recommend not playing the Arrogant Trail. Would choose the wrong option every single time.
He knew too. He was pacing.
I know.
Should I go through that door right into the base, the safe way, the safe path to my friends? Nah, I'm gonna nah. I don't know what it is.
I just need to know what's behind that brush, and it was death, unfortunately.
At least he knows.
At least it was a 1-for-1, and it was Herald going over to Fireloli. So if he finds Lee Sin by himself in the jungle, he's gonna murder him, and it's not gonna be pretty. Here comes V though, looking for another kill. Who's up here? It's Scout. He's caught in the net. Teleport as well, out from Coco, lands the stun, instant cleanse, but it's not gonna matter whatsoever. Swift with the kill, 3-on-1.
Yeah, EDG's gonna have a tough time. There's no objectives to trade for, and if Newbee keep doing this, yeah, EDG's gonna get a lot, really frustrated from this play. It's gonna happen time and time again, and they don't have answers. Just don't have taliyah split push like that if they don't have an objective to immediately go on to. Dragon's gonna be coming up soon, but of course, what are they gonna do now? So. Heads up play from Newbee. They're making plays happen. They're just not bleeding through. They're at match point where EDG can take the series, so they're trying anything. Double down on that aggression.
I mean, every single kill, every single play counts for Newbee. They just need to get anything that they can. Because EDG, they're feeling pretty good. They can drop a game here and there. And they can still take the set, having this nice buffer underneath them. This nice blanket. And as it is, we're looking towards these items once more. Zet, item and a half. He's scaling up, top lane. 2 items himself on top of Mouse. And V, he's just looking to be a tank right now. We'll go into those defensive items. Try and trade off against Mouse in these side lanes.
One thing to note of is Coco's just getting into his Lich Bane fairly soon. So the towers that they invested into the bottom side of the map could pay out fairly well. If they cannot get control of Baron side, then they have the option to look to split push, look to pick apart Mouse if he's looking to split into V. So they do have options. The problem is if they were ever to make those decisions in that high of a stake situation, they do concede Baron. So they don't want to ever find themselves in that position. Option does remain. It's more of like a snake style, which is a fun composition to see, having this split pusher on top of a Twisted Fate. Something that they've gone towards quite a bit, and you see those hectic finishes. EDG even lost a game to Snake in this very same way, but it was a Camille in the top lane.
It's true.
And
Swift.
Here we go.
He's looking for this flank. Here comes the teleport out from Coco. Zet knocked into the enemy team, but he's actually going to turn it around onto LWX, and he's got the wild growth on top of him. Scout is caught up by himself, but a massive flick into Mouse's Maelstrom. We'll find one, look for another kill. 2-0 for EDG. Swift will reclaim the kill onto Zet, but with this angry Kog'Maw, he's going to get a birthday present, and that's the Icathian surprise coming out at 3-for-1. EDG still come out ahead.
Yeah, thankfully they got Zed, but it took so long. It was hard work, and Scout was able to obliterate them anyways. So they're just going to turn onto this Baron.
Scout will take 2 hits from the Baron, however, which is not ideal. Blue Trinket comes out from Newbee. They know this is happening. LWX and more. But 2 people standing in the way of EDG, confirming this Baron kill. Mantra Q coming out. The flick zoning away. This Baron dropping low. LWX looking for it, but taliyah will be coming out with the Baron kill in the end. Fireloli with the early smite. Little dangerous as LWX was still alive, but let's see how all of that shook out.
So this looked good from Swift, but take a look at Zed. He just doubled down the moment he knew he was in a tough spot. And put fantastic ulti on top of Zed. And then look at that. The wall comes through, and so LWX has to completely retreat. Down goes Fizz. Down goes Twisted Fate. And it was just cleaned up based off, of course, the Renon's Hurricane coming through from Mouse. And Scout able to get a primary burst there. So. Solid from them.
Oh, not again.
Don't choose the right bush. He chose
Swift
the right
and V, they played the long game, honestly. But no, they're not going to commit the time to it because they see so many members in the mid lane from EDG. They know this push is happening.
TP's coming in through, so that's a proper flank position.
Everyone's closing in. 5 different angles,
oh,
the
no.
ultimate pincer. But let's see if EDG can fight their way out of this one. Zet's going to go down, even with the shielding. Meiko jumped on top of him to try and help, but he'll also fall on top of his ADC. Scout and Fireloli kiting away, and Swift is off to the side. Here comes the wall, cutting off more, and Swift into this fight. Down goes one. On Mouse is going in on top of 3 people. Finds one, gets 2. That's the 3rd kill of the fight to EDG, and Scout will clear out this minion wave. Unbelievable from EDG.
They set, Newbee set that up well. It looked like, all right, we got the Kog'Maw boys, but then guess what? Yeah, Mouse shows up, Mouse blows him up, goes in, flashes in, and then just rips them apart. Suddenly a winning situation from Newbee. Nah, EDG takes control once again.
Absolutely unreal. These 2 carries in this team are so incredible to watch. Scout and Mouse know exactly how much damage they can deal, what situations they can put themselves in, and still come out ahead. And what looked from a fantastic fight from Newbee, you can even see it on the face of Coco. He looks, honestly, so crushed from these sequence of plays because it should have worked.
Yeah, they're just not planning out ahead and what those kills actually. So we can take a look at this replay as it comes through. This is a good flank initially. It looked fairly scary for Coco because as he walked up to Zet, yeah, Zet just takes his HP quite a bit. But they immediately blow him up. And this is a great positioning. They even kind of chunked down Meiko and killed him out. So look at this. Back away from this or look to all in on the fight. But where Moore is currently, completely isolates himself in the fight, and Swift follows through. So then, yeah, that's just poor positioning from the rest of Newbee when they had won the fight. It makes no sense whatsoever how they played that one out. It's 2 plays. Take the kills and back away, or, yeah, we actually got a few kills. We feel fairly confident. Move in as a unit, move in as a team.
Because you're 5v3, but if you're up against a taliyah who still has ultimate, then they, like, EDG turn that into a 3v2 and then a 3v3, and then win it out both times. Mouse gets pinned down, big damage out from LWX, but the rest of the team from EDG are coming in. Wall has been built, Lobster lands onto Scout. He's knocked up, but he's good to go. Redemption just heals him. All of that and more. LWX not landing these Qs, not landing his harass. There's a big minion wave in the bottom side from Newbee, so they do have that as a saving grace, but that lasts a little bit of Baron. Let's see what EDG can do with it.
Might just double down on the wave coming topside. It is a cannon wave. So just take a look at what we see here. Kennen is coming along with him. That should be theirs.
Baron's literally about to wear off in like half a second. But somehow EDG are still pushing with it. This inhibitor's going to go down. Newbee not doing anything about it just yet. He's trying to find his flank here, Raz, but not going to happen.
Yeah, and it was just smart from Scout to zone him out. That's all Scout wanted to do. He didn't put any auto attacks onto the inhib. There was no reason to. Just set up Zet to be able to do that. And so when V tried to go in for a flank, just force him out with your Q. You do a lot of damage to him. He's not as tanky as you would seem. He's cut corners in terms of having the Spectre's cowl, but also just the bit of armor for himself, so you can rip him apart. This is a lot of damage, so they just, he's not able to find an opening.
That's what's really interesting in that push, because while the Baron buff was about to expire from everyone else, Fireloli was running Runic Affinity, and because he was grouped up with the team, they had extra time on that one. So yeah, EDG just kind of heads up knowing that they could make this push happen with that extra bit of Baron from the Mastery. So pretty crazy. Still, oh no, Meiko. No! We've seen Mouse do this before. Alright, well played to Newbee setting up another death rush because no one was expecting them to do that. The fact they lost top inhibitor and they were waiting in a random brush, that was actually really cool from Newbee.
Yeah, they're pulling out all the stops, all the fanatics, everybody sitting there. Because as you mentioned, this game has gotten to a point where, yeah, they've lost full control of topside inhib. And it's not too bad in the sense that at the very least it's top inhib, not mid or bottom lane because of Baron coming up in just 2 minutes. So they can send members to push it and still have the ability to contest that Baron. So it's not lights out just yet. But it is pretty damn hard. And they would have to take a lot to come back into it. So just setting up those Fnatic bushes to get one pick, one after another, get a bit of gold so when you do send someone back, you can actually buy yourself a nice siding to yourself. That works for them.
At the same time, LWX actually has more gold in the bank than Zed does, so he has that going for him. Then again, it is a Kog'Maw,
yep.
so gold on him is going to matter a little bit more when we get into these fights. That being said, Dragon is going to come up in around 2.5, 3 minutes. Baron's up in 1, which is more important for these teams at this point in time. Pings coming out from both teams.
I wonder. It looks like that even though Baron's comes up in 1 minute, that's their afterthought. That inhib is a real problem for Newbee on the top side, and someone has to deal with it. And if it's going to be LWX, 100%, EDG is going to be able to take this tower. So it has to be V, but V is not equipped well enough to be able to just clear that wave and still be able to impact this fight.
At the very least, Coco needs to be there beforehand to clear out these minions, because that was 2 caster minions. And EDG did that damage to the tower. Newbee needs to be fast to the punch. Here comes the wall, blocking off Newbee. And the tower's just gonna die here. There's nothing that Newbee can do, and taliyah is so good when ahead.
And they have no Fizz ulti because V threw it out earlier on too. So they cannot force this fight. Newbee are ill-equipped to fight this one out. V is threatening, but he should not be able. Scout did take a bit of damage. That's a little worrying, but they're likely, I wonder if they're gonna run right back, because inhib topside is down still. That tower is getting whacked around
by these minions, yeah. Already down to half. And Coco's gonna have to stop it, but EDG back to base.
Okay.
And we'll pick up all of these extra items on their side, so hitting those big power spikes. And Baron's up, Dragon up in 50 seconds, so EDG want these objectives.
And one thing to note, of course, is that Scout's ulti is fairly low in cooldown. Should be back up enough in time if Newbee want to set this one up. So this is really worrying.
So what does the win look like for Newbee if they get it here, Raz?
Well, if the objective is Baron, which is looking like the case, it's going to have to be a steal, or they would have to pick off of Meiko. That being said, Swift, get out of there.
Okay, well, this is definitely not the setup to a win, but Scout getting caught out off to the side,
no.
has the Zhonya's. Coco coming in, they still want this kill onto Scout, and they'll find it, but Swift may trade his life for this one as V jumps into the backline, takes out the AD carry, removes the support as well, and this is going disastrously wrong for EDG. Mouse trying to get out, because Fireloli with a fast kill. Meanwhile, V's chasing after, and Fireloli's going to trade his life for it. 3 members still alive from Newbee, but Mouse is still up. Look at the bottom side, minions are pushing in. Newbee have to make a choice.
Oh, they didn't go for the tough choice. They're going to try and defend these waves, which is smart from them. But that does mean that they lose out the chance of taking the Baron. So no risky call of taking Baron first. Even taking a look at where Mouse, their sole surviving member of EDG, who would have been in prime position if they were taking Baron to take the bot lane inhib. But good news for Newbee is that they won the fight, of course. They got the gold in their pockets, and that inhib is up and available once again. So they can reset pressure. It's going to take a little bit of time. They're going to lose this dragon, of course. But they should be ready for the next Baron, or at least the next time they could test for Baron. And they won't have their inhib constantly threatened by waves.
At the very least, that fight bought them time. And that's what Newbee need. They need to survive in this game. Look for another Hail Mary fight. And even the fact that they were able to find a fight at this point in the game when they had a 8,000 gold deficit is insane, honestly.
It is.
To see that they can do this against Edward Gaming. But that being said, EDG are still very far ahead. And Newbee need to be aware of that fact.
And you asked me just before that entire point happened, what does a win look like for me? And for me, the biggest point was Meiko, simply because A, he's the swishiest member. Sure, he has ulti, but if you can take him down first and foremost, he won't have the utility for the later on portions of Teamfights. Scout is an option. The only reason why it was difficult, they're just going to take this inhib. All right, ain't nothing you can do about that.
Oof. Sonic Wave doesn't connect. Banana comes through as well. But Swift, yeah, you probably want to back away.
Yeah. So the reason why it was hard to take Scout was just because he did have Zhonya's, but he did go down anyway, so they were able to blow that one out. It's going to be back up. But now that the bottom lane inhib is down, EDG should just go straight towards pushing that mid once again and going straight towards mid.
Take a look at this though, Raz. Push coming in from Newbee. Looking for table scraps, but they're aggressively going after them. Scout landing these Landing his pebbles onto Moore. Threaded volley coming through. Here comes the wall. Coco has flash, but he's getting chased out. He's dying so quickly out from this Kog'Maw. Moore comes in, but he's low as well. They lose the Twisted Fate. Scout, not gonna happen. Swift goes down, and 3 members remaining from Newbee. They're being chased down, and EDG are looking to run them over. Oh! Living Artillery takes out the support where he stands. LWX, no escape from Mouse, and V hops away, but he is the lone survivor from Newbee, and this may be the game here.
They just weren't going anywhere. And that was a nice play coming out of Newbee, but they got run down. And you know what, V? Yeah, back away from that.
It's just not going to happen. There's too long on these death timers. Minion waves flooding in from the bottom, from the mid. And EDG looking to put the final nail in the coffin. There was no last chance saloon because there's nothing that V can do. He'll go down into the Guardian Angel, and EDG onto the Nexus. A 3-0, a clean sweep. EDG progress to the semifinals.
3-0. Decisive one at that. They've been sitting in those studios for a very long time. But once they got warmed up in game 1, they kept going. They made a few errors, but Newbee just could not find a consistent opening on EDG.
Just did not happen. Game 2 was the closest that Newbee honestly got to finding a win in this series, Raz, and even that was a long shot. EDG pulled it back, and in Game 3, complete domination. Took a little bit longer, but that final team fight wasn't even a team fight. It was some getting caught out, and then the rest of them being run down. That's a little bit sad to see Newbee go in that fashion, but they put up a fight. They tried their best in Game 2, but in the end, they were simply outclassed by EDG.
And not so long ago, Newbee were in a position where they would head towards the promotion tournament, right? They were having that battle with Vici, who were able to take them 2-0 in week 9.
Sure.
And so the fact that they were able to even get to the playoffs, but then B, showcase such nice play up against IG. That's them going much farther than anyone have ever expected them to. So good on them. They were already on the tough side of the bracket on this. If they had beaten EDG in some wild dream, they would have went on to RNG. So that's they went pretty far, and that's something they will look towards in terms of VODs and re-aim in terms of summer. Summer split's going to be a different one for Newbee, but this one, you could say it was some few rocky roads, but it's a success nonetheless.
I'll say one thing, Raz. If you look towards Newbee, and if they do perform like they did against IG and even up against EDG in this match, they could go a long way in summer, especially if they build upon what they've already brought in this series, because the fact that they even survived this long against EDG and how strong they looked as the tournament went on does say something towards the organization and the players. So props to Newbee of what they managed to do. Eliminating IG in itself was a massive feat. So well played, but in the end, 3 quick wins over to EDG, and you can just take a look at this goal graph as well. It was a bit mixed, and LWX was trying his heart out as well. He did so much damage in that game, had spectacular positioning, but in the end, it was just the carries from EDG just a little bit too strong.
Yeah. Better performance coming out of LWX, better performance coming out of the team in general, but as you mentioned, EDG looking monstrous right now. This was a good play simply because it was that 5-point flank that Zed just had no option to survive. He was on his own in this mission. He gets completely deleted. And so this is a good example of, this is a nice play coming out of Newbee. That EDG were kind of exposed on this front. But then, of course, they see one play, and instantly they go right on top of it. And they were able to just pick apart and regain control of this entire situation. So that's good on EDG to be able to take note of that. It was off the back of Scout. Scout had an amazing performance on this game. And when we finally see him on the taliyah, he really sets them up, has a proper laning phase, really well done. And then, of course, those walls constantly making it a very tough time for Newbee, even when they had winning engages, to get out for free. They couldn't even go back to base and spend their gold. They'd likely see a gray screen. That's just what happened.
There was a reason why it was banned out against him in multiple games, honestly. And we saw in that game, there was so many good turnarounds coming in from Scout. And I think of all these games that we saw in this series, this, at the very least, needs to be an MVP towards Scout. Because I think he definitely deserved it in Game 1 for the Orianna play. Didn't have the highest amount of damage. This time, I feel like he did enough damage to push him over the line. And just the pure plays that we saw out of him through the entire series. He really has just been a massive force for the team. And it's not just him. You look towards the top lane, Mouse doing a lot of work, Zed in the bottom lane as well. And Zed has had some 50-50 performances as the split has gone on, but he's still a solid AD carry. And when you actually put the ball in his court, when he is the one actually driving this one home, he will make it happen. The Game 2 composition was built around him, and he made it work.
That's true. And that's what's really fun to see, because they take second place. And then you already said it. We said it. MVP goes to Scout.
Makes me happy.
Yeah, makes me happy too. But you talked about it. Every one of those players are definitely playing to their roles, playing a lot better as the split goes on. And you said 50-50 to Scout. To Zet. That's sure. But like, he's had very consistent laning phases, to say the least. So we see EDG constantly getting those early leads, and then they have problems in terms of flopping it in mid-game. Their mid-game decision-making has always been under question marks.
That's true.
But it's gotten better. We still saw a few holes, but it's gotten better to a point where we start to, well, EDG were always in contention in terms of, like, are they the best team in the league? But it's primarily been RNG and WE. Well, it looks like now they have their second chance. They're going to be going up against RNG. That's going to be really fun to see. And if they can actually usurp them, because that's a really good matchup.
It is, for sure. And I guess it's worth talking about, honestly, because it's going to be coming up in a couple of days from now. Of course, tomorrow will be the promotion tournament, so make sure to tune in for that as well. But semifinals will be happening 2 days from now. That'll be RNG up against EDG, and on the opposite side, W against OMG, also a very interesting matchup. Let's touch on RNG versus RNG. RNG versus RNG.
Nah.
I mean, they are technically fighting themselves, but RNG versus EDG, they have looked stronger and stronger, especially with their full lineup. There's a couple question marks around, I would say, week 10 and week 9 on what they showed.
Yeah.
It felt like when Uzi wasn't in, maybe that was the best iteration of the lineup. Because NXG, let me confirm that one, because NXG was not forced into the bottom lane. The calls were not constantly around the bottom side. And then when the rest of the map was opened up, it just became so much easier for the team to win. That being said, Uzi is Uzi. And Uzi has insane mechanics, and once he gets a lead, we'll hold it and we'll just go off. He has those Uzi moments, but sometimes RNG kind of fold in on themselves.
And that's the thing about it. I think one of our major criticisms come to week 9 and week 10 of RNG, and that's when they've essentially solidified first place for them. They even said in interviews that they're kind of experimenting a little bit, and that's fair. We even saw the Lucian mids. That's something we will likely not see in playoff time. So what RNG will see is something that what I'm really interested in, because they must have been practicing quite a bit in scrims, but not really going all out in stage is something that I'm fairly worried about, because even though you solidified first, you still need that stage experience. So that's a little worrying. But RNG versus EDG, that is a tried and true legacy matchup. We've seen them spring split when they had Mata and Looper in the top lane, and they were able to come into MSI fairly strong on that one. And then they go into, I guess, Worlds, and they come out falling flat to EDG, of course. But it's always fun to see RNG and EDG, even with different players, different rosters altogether. That's going to be a ridiculous matchup to see, right? I know we have OMG and W in the bottom side of that bracket, but seeing EDG versus RNG, and it's for free. That's not even pay-per-view. That's not going to the finals. That's going to the semis.
Yeah.
So you guys can stay attuned to that one.
Yeah, look forward to that as well. And no matter who drops out from there, it's still going to be an amazing third-place matchup, because pretty much anyone out of that top 4 is going to be fun to watch in the third-place matchup. So I'm even glad that we get to see both of those sides of the bracket meet in that third-place matchup. But talking about OMG and WE as well, OMG we did expect to win, but that was a lot harder fought in the series that we saw at the start of the day as well, up against IMA. But all the more credit to them. They fought their way all the way through a 3.5-hour pause, which is insane, especially for those new players. And they brought out the reverse sweep. So credit to them. Hopefully they don't get put in that situation once more as they head against WE, who are very much veterans. This lineup has been together for quite some time. And when they come together, look like an incredible team. And
that's a big point to hit on, because even though EDG versus RNG is a very close one, it's going to be difficult. You might even expect to go all 5 games. OMG versus WE could just be decided based off of the fact that the experience alone. WE's been together the entire split since last year. The only question, of course, has been from 0 to Ben, and Ben has been phenomenal in that support position. Has been working very well with Condi. So the raw experience coming out of WE might just usurp the young talent, of course, but they still have a long way to go. I think that's something. It's great to see OMG thrive with the new players that they've had, but going up against W could be very difficult for them.
For sure. So we'll close the show on that one. So thank you very much for watching. On behalf of myself, Raz, all the casters we've had today, and indeed the production crew, we thank you again for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for the